Hi there. Tonight we're making another one from the Scouts Outdoor Cookbook. We're making Shawnee Trails Gumbo. So please, stick around. This one. Okay, tonight we're making Shawnee Trails Gumbo. It's a recipe out of the Scouts Outdoor Cookbook. From West Paducah, Kentucky. It's not one I've made before. I was thumbing through the cookbook this morning trying to get some dinner ideas for tonight, and it just kind of called out to me. It seemed like a fun one to try to do. I've been doing some yard work out here again, and I apologize for lawnmower sounds. My neighbor across the ridge 5 minutes ago decided to start cutting his grass. So it just seems like a pretty fun meal. It's going to definitely make more than we're going to eat tonight, but it's supposed to rain again Sunday, so it'll be a great leftover night for then. I've got my Dutch oven heating up over some coals from my fire over here. Once it comes up to a decent temperature, we're going to start frying up the chicken and the kielbasa. Okay, I just took a peek on the oven. I think it's up to a decent enough temperature to start. I'm going to put a very light little bit of oil in there just to get things started. Probably more than I want. So I've got three chicken breasts, and one full 1 pound horseshoe of kielbasa. And I'm going to learn one of these days to jump in the other direction so it doesn't just block the camera view. But and we're going to fry this up for just a few minutes until all the meat is done. Better not. Oh, look at that. Well, it looks like the chicken is about done. I'd really like the sausage to brown up just a little bit. I might try to shovel out a few more coals and get that really hot on the bottom just for a few minutes to brown up the sausage just a little bit. Okay, so what I did is I took the lid off so I won't keep trapping any more moisture in, and then I banked all the chicken and the sausage on the uphill side. And I've got quite a bit of coal shoveled in on the right hand side as you're going to see everything, so that should help me brown up the sausage a little bit more. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to let this brown just a few more minutes. starting to do pretty good though. Okay, I am going to go ahead and pull these for the time being anyhow. Damn it. Guess you always got to sacrifice one, don't you? I know that bottom's pretty good and hot, so what I'm going to do is find my lid lifter and I'm going to pull the pot for just a second, let it cool off just a little bit, and move maybe a couple of them bigger coals out from underneath there. So we're going to start making a roux, and I don't want this to be that hot. Let's pull this little dude, put him back. There we go. That ought to work. Okay, so I'm going to eyeball this part of it. I need a 1/4 cup of oil. That's what I'm going to go with. Let that heat for a quick second, and then somewhere in my little mess off camera, okay, I have got a 1/4 cup of, just nothing more than 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And I'm going to make a roux out of this, plus the little scrapings. And the book says you want it to be a nice chocolatey brown sort of color. So I'm just going to keep stirring this and working it until it gets to whatever color I think is appropriate, and then I'll get back with you. Okay, so according to the contributor to the book, and I don't have that information, I'm sorry, I might, if I remember about it, I'll put it down in the description though. It's only fair to give the rightful people credits, but according to him, or her, I honestly don't remember at this very second, to be patient, because this could take as long as half an hour, they say. They were doing it over charcoal briquettes. And I just had this fire going all day, and I just feel like it's a shame to let it go to waste. So it is starting to brown up some. It's kind of I don't know how to explain it, because it's probably showing up just white for you guys. But you know when somebody puts a lot of cream in their coffee, and they kind of, well, there was a guy I used to work with, he liked a lot of cream in his coffee, and we would just kind of girly it up, was the comment for it, but I don't want to insult anybody. So anyhow, it kind of looks like a very heavily creamed coffee at the moment. I want to get it a little more browner than that. But it's coming along. Okay, I am making some progress. Maybe not quite chocolatey brown yet. Ooh, there's some good scrapings. Yeah. But I don't think too much longer. And we'll start adding all the rest of the goodness. I don't remember what the book said for difficult. I really don't remember a lot, do I? I don't remember what the book said for difficulty level this was, but it's got quite a few components to it. I am going to let it go just a little bit browner than this. And then we'll add the rest of it. Okay, so I'm going to dump all this in. Let me see if I can remember it all. There is 2 stalks of celery, 1 medium onion, and then I had some red onion I had to use up. Then it calls for a 1/4 cup of bell pepper. And I had a red pepper I had to use up, and a bell pepper also. So I took about a half of the red pepper that I had, and about a third of that third of the green bell pepper. And that's what I'm up to there. And then there's 2 cloves of garlic that's supposed to be in there. And we're garlicky sort of people, so I put 5. And we'll let this saute around. I am right in the smoke for just a couple minutes, and then add the rest of it. Man, this is really smelling fantastic. I am going to let it cook just a few more minutes, mostly to let the onion soften up just a little bit more. It's been 3 or 4 minutes now, I guess. I'm just going to let that go just a few more minutes, though. Soften up. Okay, so I've got 2 cups of water. It calls for 2 1/2. I have to go get some more. 2 cups of water and some apple cider vinegar. Mix that in there real quick. Oops, sorry. I had to edit that scene out. It was not going well. Really, you did not miss much of anything. Just the addition of a 1/2 cup of water, and the recipe called for originally 3 chicken bouillon cubes, which I did not have. So I used the Knorr powdered chicken bouillon, and I used 3 teaspoons in replacement of the 3 bouillon cubes that the recipe called for. And that's pretty much all that got edited out. My apologies. And it says optional spices, so I am going to do just a sprinkling of some oregano leaves. that's not going to work. A little light sprinkle of some sage. And a little bit of thyme. And all the meat again. Oh, that looks amazing. I'll bring the camera back over and let you see into that. Oh, that looks really, really, really good. Alrighty, so let me show you what we got going here before I... Where did I do my little spoon? See how that looks? That looks really, really good. Alright. So let me get some coals on top and then we'll get to cooking this. Okay, I just put a really light layer of coals on the lid. I'm supposed to let this simmer while I prepare a batter. And I've mixed most of my dry ingredients together before I left the house already. So I'm going to let that just kind of sit as it is for 5 minutes or so. And then mix my wet ingredients together into the batter and get back with you. Okay, we are basically making a cornbread batter. See if I can remember all these. I think it was 1.5 cups of flour, 3/4 cup of cornmeal, 1/4 cup of sugar, a couple tablespoons of baking powder, and a little bit more of the chopped red onion that I had left over. It called for like a 1/4 cup of onion. And the one oddity called for filet powder, which is dried sassafras leaves and then ground into a powder. So in a lot of Creole cooking, Cajun cooking. So I put a teaspoon in there. It did not call for how much. It just said 2 tastes, and I've never done that before, so I'm going to try that. So now I just need to add an egg and a 1/4 cup of oil. Ooh, that ought to be fun. Okay, 1/2 of a half. Which is probably a little too much of my roux. And then a cup of milk. Just in case. So, in the book, he's got a pretty funny story in the beginning that, about how, as he's teaching his scouts to cook and stuff, you know, he pretends to mess it up and pour things over top of it, and just, oh, it's going to ruin the meal, and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, Reed's pretty funny, but what we're going to do here is pour this entire batter over top of our gumbo, and so it'll just be a one layer of cornbread cooked over top of the gumbo. Just want to stir this, make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom. Okay, yeah. Man, isn't that looking really good? Okay. So, we just pour this, and it's pretty thick too, right over the top. No stirring. So I'm trying to just move it around as best I can, because I don't think it's going to cover the whole thing. So it's going to be kind of like maybe a cornbread dumpling, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll be surprised too. I'm not supposed to stir, so I do want to get as much of this batter as I can. Okay. I don't think I'm going to get any much more out of here than that. Okay, I'm going to replenish some of my coals. A real small light layer of coals underneath, and I'm going to hit it mostly with heavy heat from the top, and then we're going to let that bake for like half an hour, and then should be eaten. Okay, it has been maybe 15 minutes or so. I just want to take a quick peek and see how it's doing, mostly for the curiosity factor than anything, but I'll wait for this gust of wind to blow down first though. Alright, let's take a quick peek and see what's going on. Woo! It's looking pretty good, huh? I think maybe next time I'll try to thin the batter just a little bit so it gets a nice even layer. But man, that's looking pretty good. Woohoo! Okay, I just took the lid off, but I want to check and see how we're doing. It's been like almost 30 minutes. Well, even in the wet parts, which is pretty much as the broth came up over top over the gravy now, it's yeah, I'm gonna call this done. Not prepared to plate it up or anything right yet, so I'm gonna pull it off the heat, just let it sit, get some dinner hardware, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, so let's see how we did here. And of course it's hot. The little cornbread piece is really good.
Karl, this is really good. Oh, dear God.
Oh, that's good. Gravy's nice and thick.
Oh, my God.
It's got a kind of toasted flavor from making it so brown, but that's really, really good. Okay. I think I've got a little bit of everything, so let's see how that looks to you. Alright. So that is, let me make sure I get this right. This is Shawnee Trails Gumbo from a Boy Scout troop out of Kentucky in the Scouts Outdoor Cookbook. I'm going to try to put as much information in the description as I can, because this is really worth every bit of somebody else trying this. Very, very good. I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.